Okay.
You can share your screen. So click go live.
Okay. Can you see? Okay, sweet. Hi guys. So sorry about that. Caused some chaos. So let me share my screen and get the PowerPoint on. Feel free to ask questions. Chris is in the chat. Happy to help out. So I'm Chelsea. So I've stolen Chris' identity today. I am the transfer recruiter for TSU. So any questions you guys have about like college credit you're coming in with, feel free to shoot them at us. I am the transfer coordinator, so more than happy to answer any questions about that. But we all want you to come to TSU as first-time freshmen. That's probably our goal every day. But I'm going to start sharing my screen now. Okay. Content. Sweet. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a little bit of a video first, get your taste buds rocking and rolling, and then start going into the information. Okay, let me jump out of this. Okay, so in this overview, we're going to talk about the history of TSU, some notable alumni at TSU, the location of it being in Nashville, Tennessee, which is a thriving built like community. Like there's so many different personalities that come with being in Nashville. And then also going to discuss some quick facts about important things, resources that we have on campus, in addition to our mission requirements and scholarships. So this is our amazing president, Dr. Glenda Glover. She is probably the most student-focused person on our campus who is rocking and rolling and ready to assist any student on campus. So anytime we have students that are wanting to make a purpose on campus, she is going to be the front lines. With all of our scholarships we handed out this year, she was probably the person who was the go-getter of making sure that we had scholarship opportunities for all students at TSU. Then in addition, this kind of gives you a brief overview of the history at TSU. Ooh. And so we were established on Juneteenth. So it's pretty amazing that we're at an institution that is historically founded on Juneteenth. In addition of being on that, we have had some amazing presidents. We've had over 8 different presidents at TSU. And then we always strive for excellence. So we have over 45 different degrees in the baccalaureate and the associate degrees, and then also 24 master's degrees and doctorate degrees. In addition, we also have certificates you can tack onto your degrees and your experience. Some notable alumni, some people don't really realize who are coming from TSU, is first off is Oprah Winfrey. She was one of our communication majors on campus. If you guys ever go to the communication building on campus, you can probably see a lot of touches, experiences from her show. And then we also have Jessie Russell, and then Dr. Deborah Cole, and then probably the most notable for a lot of our people that are in the sciences is Dr. Levi Watkins. We have a scholarship in his honor for accelerated education where you can start with TSU and our biology and any of our pre-med programs and transition over to Meharry and continue on in your degree. And then we also have William Rudolph, who is our record-holding Olympian. We have a couple of different statues of her on campus, and it's great that you can actually see a piece of history coming through your campus at all times, especially when it comes around Olympic season. And then again, this also talks about the Levi Watkins Scholarship. So the admission requirements for it is an accelerated program. So we do expect our students to have a 3.5 GPA. This is specifically for freshmen. So only freshmen are eligible for this scholarship. So you have to have a 3.5 weighted cumulative GPA coming out of high school. And then a 28 on your ACT. We do super score, so do keep that in mind. So if there's a section like math or reading that's not your strong suit, feel free to take it a couple of times to elevate your score, because we do the super score component at TSU. In addition, we do have an SAT of 1310. Now, with the SAT, it has different score ranges depending on the cycle of when you take the exam. So just be on the lookout for what your scoring is. We actually do the scoring in our organization. So if you see that it is different, it's scored in a different category from just the 28 to 3200 range, don't worry, just send it over to TSU and we'll do the evaluation. Varies by state. And then the benefits of the program, you do get a scholarship. It is accelerated. So you're in a cohort model with teammates that are also in this mindset. And then there's also residential housing that also comes with being in this space. It's kind of similar to our honors housing, where it's very social, it's very active, very lively. The goal is to get everybody motivated to continue on with their schoolwork. There is tutoring that is also built into that space for you to feel comfortable. And then about Nashville, which is probably the it city, it's kind of grown and thrived throughout the years. We not only have an Amazon headquarters here, we have Nissan, HCA, Asurion, and Kroger. A lot of our students actually have, by the time they walk across the graduation stage, have a job offer with one of these groups, if not any of our other smaller groups that are kind of booming if they're not in the music industry. So in Nashville, we have some pretty great HBCUs that are around the area. So not only are you able to connect with the alumni and the team at TSU, you can also connect with Fisk University. We also have the Knoxville Pharmacy program from UTK. And then we also have Meharry. A lot of our students will either connect with friendships with Fisk students or Meharry students, but we kind of work and collaborate with all students across Nashville. And then things to do. A lot of students love to go downtown either for NFL because our football stadium, we already play with the Tennessee Titans. So there's all that fun experience that goes down there when there's a football game for the NFL for the Tennessee Titans. And then also hockey is pretty popular for our students to come down and visit. I know that there is an opportunity for you to sign up for hockey tickets and be able to go. And then a lot of our students love to go to the African American Museum. It's on Jefferson. And then there's also a really cool, I would call it a really great barbecue place that's right beside it. Highly recommend if it's a free day for you, go to the Museum of African American Music and then promptly go get some barbecue. And then in addition, a lot of our students do enjoy Broadway. It is a very touristy, high active area, but there are some really good restaurants and really good places to eat. And then again, as I was saying, like the historic Jefferson Street is probably the most active and lively street in Nashville for history, music, and like culture. Like you're always on fire when you're down there of like building relationships and making family connections. And then we also have our newspaper is down there. And then also a couple of students will enjoy doing internships at the Citizen Banks. And this is when the aristocratic fans got to meet Barack Obama. Let me see if I can move a picture. Yes, so see, like at TSU, like we give our students a lot of opportunities that go beyond just hanging out on campus and eating some good barbecue or hanging out with some hot chicken. Like we actually love to take our students to experiences because our students are amazing. Like not only has our chorus played at the Vatican, our debate team is probably one of the highest in the nation because we actually host conferences here at TSU. And the aristocratic bands and our sophisticated ladies create their own culture and mindset when they come to campus. And then here again is the aristocratic bands. Let me see if I can get the video to play. If not, no biggie. Here we go.
1, 2, 1, hey.
Okay, and then this is just some brief facts about TSU. So again, our undergraduate program, we have over 40 different degrees. A lot of our degrees are made up of the medical track. So if you're doing dental, nursing, we also have physical therapy. We probably have one of the highest ranking HBCU physical therapy programs in the nation. It's pretty amazing. And there's also a workshop space that's built into the dental hygiene program. So you can also, like as a student or a staff member or a community member, actually get dental work done with our dental hygiene program, and then also get physical therapy work with our PT program. Like the hands-on experience you get at TSU is pretty rare. Like you don't get that experience at a lot of at a lot of colleges across the nation of being able to be on ground and actually interact with people, and then also network within the community too. And then we have 8+ residence halls and apartments on campus. So what I will say about residence halls, we actually have a new one coming online in the fall. It's going to be 700 beds and it's going to be brand spanking new. So if you're coming in the fall with us, get excited. They are still working on it. They've been working on it all summer and they're excited to welcome you to campus in it. In addition, we do have apartments where you have roommates. And then we also have our traditional style where you're sharing a residential space with your whole hall with like the bathroom. I would say most students are very hesitant about that experience, but from coming from a college that's the only experience you have on campus housing, it actually makes you a stronger person, makes you more empathetic. And like those girls who I hung out with in my residence hall are all my best friends. So we still text even 10 years later. So I would say like consider a traditional space on campus. Like if you are going to come live on a college campus, think about that of how much connection you can make when you're in the community. Along with that, we have over 100 student clubs and organizations. Probably the most popular is our Student Government Association. And if you saw in the previous slides, like we have like the Miss TSUs, like we do it cohort by academic year, and they are representations of our college. So not only do they travel and recruit to events, like they're the faces. Those are who our students know and love on campus. And then probably another one of our popular groups is the debate team, because they do host a lot of slam poetry events and then also some model discussion. And then also our football, like we've kind of come up and grown with our football team. We had a win last week, so hopefully we keep that winning streak going. And then again, we are playing at Titan Stadium if we are going to have a event. So you're going to go see, you're actually going to be in downtown Nashville when you come to a sporting event with us. And then the classroom size I personally like is that you have 16 students per one professor. So that means that not only are you going to get that one-on-one experience with classroom mindset of like having an internship, like hands-on work, you're actually going to have a teacher who knows your name. Like it's going to be probably the most comfortable situation you've ever had with a teacher, where they're not going to just treat you like they are the authority in the classroom. They're going to teach you and mold you to be successful. And then 98% of our students get financial aid, whether that be a state grant like Pell or Hope or an academic scholarship from the college. We actually do have scholarships that we've been dispersing to students that are either in-state and out-of-state, depending on their GPA. And then 75% of our students are hired after their internship. So if they worked at Amazon or they worked at Asurion, 9 times out of 10, they're going to get hired there. And if not, they're going to have experiences and the contacts to be able to get that next job. And then 96% of our faculty have terminal degrees. And what that means is not only are those instructors experienced in their field from having hands-on work, but they've also had the teaching experience to back it up. So they have their masters and their doctorates. And TSU kind of thrives on making sure our team is the most educated as possible, because we also get educational incentives too to keep going. And then this kind of gives you a brief overview of some of our degrees at TSU. Most popular degrees off the top of my head is business, is really popular, agriculture, biology. Up and coming is our chemistry program of students being very active and excited. There are a lot of certificates you can do with our chemistry degree. A lot of students will do chemistry and then go into doing pharmacy school. And then this kind of gives you an evaluation of like other scholarships and certifications that we have in the community. So this kind of spotlights our agriculture program, which is probably the most popular of all the schools combined in the state of Tennessee, is our agricultural school, because not only do we focus on like crops and development, we also focus on land grants too. And we also focus on like the human side of agricultural development. As I go through, let me see this next one. So this also talks about like what kind of research institution we are. So we are what we classify as an R2. So what that means is we have a hands-on experience with students doing research. We have 5 different categories of research at TSU. And in those high researches, like our students are able to either travel because of the research, be able to evaluate data information that is dispersed within the community and within like the nation in general. And then our students are actually a part of the critical thinking process and the determinations that go with some of the data that we either collect or we're actually evaluating. And then we also have our new aerospace program that we have. It is pretty popular with our students who want to work at BNA. In addition to that, it is probably one of those where a lot of students who are interested in maybe pursuing something in NASA, they will be a part of this experience. There is also a student organization that goes with our aerospace and aviation programming at TSU. So just do keep that in mind. If you have any questions about that, feel free to ask us and we can get you connected with that department. And this kind of gives you an additional spotlight for a degree. So at TSU, what I'll say is we do have online classes and we also have in-person classes. Most common, we're going to have in-person classes, especially for our like hands-on work. So your civil engineering classes are going to be very in-person, as well as like engineering, early childhood, and health sciences. Those are going to be on-ground classes. Now, what's great about us is that we also have the option of you doing online classes with us, either through Regents Online or Tennessee eCampus if you need to take classes in the summer, but you can't physically be in Nashville. A lot of our students will do those experiences online, take 9 credit hours over the summer, and then come back to campus with us and be on ground. What I like to tell people, like remind people, if you do a BS in a degree path, that means you have more science concentration in your degree. So you're going to be taking like astrology, philosophy, psychology. If you're going to do a BA in your degree, you're going to be taking more liberal art classes. So foreign languages, so Spanish 1, philosophy, all those kind of classes are going to be in a BA program. And then also if you're interested in doing French or Spanish, we do have it as a minor. And this kind of also gives a spotlight. Probably one of our additional high achieving programs is the psychology department at TSU. And at TSU, we like to focus on the metaphysical side and then also on the psychological dynamic or the mental dynamic of the psychology program. So a lot of students will start with psychology with us, but as you're going through the degree, we're going to help you navigate where your next step is going to be. Like what masters are you going to add on top of your psychology degree? And then again, our dental program, we are reworking how our dental program works. Right now, we have 2 tracks with dental hygiene. So we have an Associate of Applied Science, which means you go to school with us, you graduate, you're going right into the workforce. But we also have our dental hygiene program that actually has concentrations in it. So if you want to be an endodontist, you have that opportunity to pursue it in that pathway. And then we have a lot of accreditations at TSU. Probably the most popular one is within our agricultural group and then with our education. So with education, we actually do have a daycare hosted on campus, but we also like to make sure that we are honoring every aspect of the education system. So you have early childhood, you have elementary education, middle school development, high school, and then we also do an additional postgraduate education degree. So if you ever want to teach as a professor, we do have those certification options as well. And this kind of spotlights a lot of our other other degrees. Probably one that's most popular is our human performance and sports sciences. If you want to do anything like athletic, that's probably like your bread and butter of your space. They are very hands-on within like the health and athletic training groups that are on our campus. And then if you don't know what you want to do at TSU, totally fine. So we do have interdisciplinary, which is kind of like you make your own experience. But I do recommend like by your junior or senior year, you do make a decision and commit to a pathway. But it is a really cool degree to kind of figure out where you fit academically. And then our nursing program, this doesn't have any update on it. So right now we only offer the BSN in nursing and the MSN in nursing. We have phased out our nursing AAS just for the moment, just because we just feel like our students, we want to take care of our students that are getting the bachelor's, and we saw a need in the community to offer more bachelor experience than having the associates. A physics department, there is a minor that goes with that. If you want to do either chemistry, biology, it's a really great space to develop in. And then we also have international law is probably one of or international relations is probably another one of our degrees that I would say will pair really well with business. Most students, if they want a dual major, they'll do international relations and a business degree. So do keep that in mind. And then This is going to be spotlighting a lot of our other programs. Like we do have our exercise science and our dietary science program tracks that our students are able to be a part of. I know that they are getting multiple accreditations as the years go by. And then in addition to that, there's all these other grants and scholarships. I know the MARC, we actually have a high instituted research scholarship with them that our students are actually going to be a part of this fall. And then this kind of spotlights a couple of our additional degrees. A lot of the students they want to work in like community planning, they want to work at like a local government, they'll do urban planning. And then we also have those teaching certifications that are always available to our students. Popular space in Nashville is doing public health over just being specifically focused on like healthcare management. So if you want medical, but you don't like the blood, you don't like the billing side, try exploring the public health dynamic. And then social work, and we have sociology. If you want to go work for somewhere like child safety or anything like that, I would say recommend going into social work. If you want to dip your toe in social work, go sociology, and then you can kind of get that experience in the future with your master's of social work. And then we kind of combined our speech communication and our theater programs at TSU for now. So not only are we doing self-staging and development, we're also kind of doing our art service in that space as well. And then if you are an ROTC, that's probably one of our most popular experiences. Is not only is it an organization at TSU, it's also part of the class experience. So you can actually take classes with TSU as an ROTC student. And then this kind of spotlights a couple of our different scholarships and accolades our students are involved in. Probably the most popular one right now is the Coding Initiative, which is our Coding and Creativity Grant. And in that grant, we not only cultivate our students that are in the high schools in Nashville, we also cultivate them when they're specifically in coding. Like we teach our educators, we teach our agricultural majors how to code because we know that's going to be a skill they're going to need regardless of what industry they're in. And this also kind of spotlights our 700-bed residence hall that's up and coming too. And it's going to be right beside like what I like to call the Oprah Winfrey Building in Greek Row. It's going to be off in the corner. So if you want to come to campus, feel free to come to campus with us and we'll show you where that space is too. And then this is kind of an outlook of one of our notable students at MTSU or at TSU. Oh my gosh. And kind of highlights our experience of what it means to like be working at TSU. Here we go. And then this is also another one of our alums. This video will play.
Dream with me of what TSU has meant to you. A dream. Does it escape your memory of what TSU was it a momentous breakthrough? Does it escape your memory? Alpha. Was it a momentous breakthrough? TSU is Alpha and Omega and everything between, fostering lifelong relationships as stable as evergreen. A bridge that brought you across, the shoulders on which you stood, a cornucopia of cultures far and wide, resulting in a product overflowing with pride. The product of a melting pot, altering the trajectory of what might have been, bound by oneness of spirit and love, acceptance of the skin you are in. dream with me of how it all began. Memories are so precious, often lingering in the wind. With 247 students in June 1912, William Jasper Hale led the charge, the beginning of a love so true. Dream a dream with me that tells how far we have come from Tennessee Normal and School for Negroes to A&I, the alma mater that is #1. From a land grant institution, a Black school, public and proud, to TSU, white and blue, where the tiger's growl is loud. An epic existence succeeding against the odds, graduating engineers and students of great acclaim, the Tiger Bells, aristocrat of bands and such. If you are in doubt, try recalling their name. Dream a dream with me of the beginning of a nostalgic time where professors as well as staff with empathy and love help you keep your righteous mind. What's the idea worth spreading? TSU is an HBCU worthy of your praise, entering to learn and going forth to serve on the front line in many ways. And the last shall be first, as Dr. Gigi might prayerfully claim, breaking ceilings as one among many. TSU alums can say the same. From state-funded to state-supported, do you realize the weight of the change? Drop in enrollment because money was short. Never should the problem remain. To assist the student whose hope was shattered, in November 1970, the TSU Foundation was born to acquire, manage, and administer funds. A nonprofit, purpose-driven organization was formed. A board of 8 to 25 members of diverse backgrounds and experiences, dedicated to upholding fiduciary responsibilities and determined to make a difference. To make the dream a reality, each TSU alum is encouraged to do their part by giving of time, talent, and resources from the depths of the heart. With restricted and unrestricted contributions, TSU National Alumni Association makes its presence known through support of alumni and affinity chapters. A commitment to support the foundation has grown. An alumni center is a new vision through the eyes of a tiger, an alumni couple whose dream was not deferred, the place where the souls of the ancestors can be felt and appreciative voices heard. The prolific words of John Legend begs the question, why are we content to wait? The future started yesterday, and we're already late. Now. All the brothers must come together. Common blood flows. Common eyes. We all see the same. Now. Dream a dream with me. There is a difference you can make. If not you, who? If not now, when? Procrastination is a mistake.
So that program covered a lot of great experiences at TSU that our students are able to be a part of. Probably one of the great things is that we are surrounded by churches at TSU, and a lot of our board members are within the faith and ministry in the community of Nashville. So you do get that hands-on experience, and it does, like, you have wraparound services around you, not only on campus, but within the community as well. Because I probably can think of 6 that are right around campus for our students to be engaged in. And then we also have a lot of civic and political initiatives. We also do have incentives for our students too. We actually gave away it was $100 for students to be vaccinated if they got vaccinated on campus, because we wanted to celebrate that of you keeping our community safe. And there was 150 of your residence hall students and you got vaccinated. So we do try and ensure that our community is protected, but we also want to recognize and celebrate our students too. We do have gender specific programming at TSU as well. We do have a really great women's center that only educates women on life of a African American woman, but also of how to use your abilities and traits that you've learned from birth, and how to use those in the workforce. We also do have the Divine Nine on our campus, in addition to a lot of other service organizations within the community, and then also a lot of art or Greek as well. And then we also have professional organizations that are based in your industry. So we have our dental hygiene has their own professional organization, along with the physical therapy department and the business group. We have professional organizations for each department for you to be participating in. And this kind of gives you a little snapshot of how wonderful our students are in the community, and then also who supports us as well. So probably the most notable one off the top of my head right now is Percy and his father, Master P. They are some of our biggest here. And then also, if you want to peep in the top right, you can see our recruiter, Miss Portia. She's going to be in the long skirt representing our campus. And then you can also see who our Miss TSU was this past academic year too, with our aristocratic bands. And then this will kind of give you an overview of what our residence halls look like and kind of give you a breakdown. So if you want specifically what the residence halls look like, please take a peek. So not only for the honors hall, which is dorm hall, which is co-ed and it is suite style. So you have your own bathroom, you're not sharing with the community space, but there is a GPA requirement that goes with that building. So it's a 3.4 GPA or higher, ACT of a 25, and then the SAT score is a 1220. So we do have it as an asterisk because it is susceptible. And then in addition to that, with COVID, we've waived a lot of our admission requirements if you're coming in the spring term for you to have your ACT requirement in place for admission. So we really, if you're coming in spring 2022, we are only looking at the GPA. But if you are coming in fall 2022, we will need you to take the ACT or the SAT. And this kind of gives you an overview of what our 2 residence halls look like. So it's Watson Hall is our male residence hall. It is community style, so it is where you're sharing a bathroom. And then Wilson is its partner. So it is, again, community style, but it is specific to your gender. So do keep that in mind. They have visiting requirements for those spaces. So just do keep that in mind. One thing I always like to tell students is always keep your ID card on you, just so they can actually keep you safe on campus, and then also you can access your rooms as well. And this is another video of our band. Let me take a play. Yep, so that just gives you a peek of what our band is. And it also kind of shows you how serious we are about COVID masks on campus. Is even our marching band, when they are hustling and bustling across the football field, they still have their mask on. So it's always a really great experience to have our aristocratic bands featured, just because they are probably the heart of our campus. And then this space that you're seeing in the video, it is our practice football field, but a lot of like our pep rally and events are going to be conducted on this field. And then the buildings right behind it are our agriculture and our field house for our athletic department as well. Ooh. And then this kind of gives you a spotlight of where we are athletically. We are introducing hockey on campus. That is something that's on deck for us, and it's going to be catered to a men's sport. And then we're going to see the engagement that goes into it being a women's sport. But we are in the OVC, Ohio Valley Conference, for football. So, and what I like about being in the OVC is that we actually play a lot of historically Black colleges in addition to. So not only are you going to be able to hang out with the community in Nashville, you're able to actually travel to a lot of different HBCUs in the area. We played Grambling State already, Jackson State, and in addition to that, we also play a lot of the four-year institutions in Tennessee. We're playing Austin Peay and Tennessee Tech this academic year too. So you're gonna get to see a lot of different spaces when you come travel with our athletics. And then in addition to that, probably our most popular athletics at TSU is track and field. That's actually where Wilma Rudolph won her Olympic medals. So we always like to kind of prompt that and remind that. We also have a great men's basketball team. You can see them practicing in Keene Hall's gymnasium during a normal academic year, and see how active and engaged they are at making sure our school they play it to their heart's content. And then we also have a really great softball program. And then our students also have a really great volleyball team as well. And they're actually probably the most active of all the athletic teams on social media is the women's volleyball. And this kind of gives you a spotlight of our athletes that make it to the NFL. Pretty amazing that we're probably the ones that have the most NFL players that have ever attended an HBCU. Again, we play all these schools that are spotlighted. And we also have somebody, our coach Eddie George, who's actually like very prompt and very present and making sure that we are a part of the conversation every football game. And then this kind of shows you who we are. Notable athletics star that is in basketball. And then it also kind of gives you a spotlight of what our tuition breakdown is compared to our competitors in Tennessee. So not only are we probably one of the more affordable institutions, we're also probably the ones that are going to give you the best experience when it comes to residence halls and dining, because they're also present on campus. And then this shows what the in-state is. This just showing you the average of what it is per semester. But then this shows you what the tuition breakdown is. And it shows you with our maintenance and fees, which some schools like to hide and keep a secret until they blindside you with the price tag. We like to keep everything on the front end and show you what the estimation will be. Not only in here, you can take a screenshot if you want, but it's going to show you what like your textbooks are average. I would say for the average degree, you'll be $300 a semester for courses. Unless you're in somewhere like engineering and medical, their books are a little bit more costly. And the reason for that is because they have supporting material. So you also get a program when you're taking those classes that you're going to use throughout the year. And they're sometimes based on the book. It's with any math or anything in medical or biology, there's going to be that higher price point. So do keep that in mind, that it's not going to be, if you're a psychology major, you're probably not going to be spending 900 books a semester. And then also our bookstore does rentals, used books, and then brand new books. I always recommend going used if it's not in your degree path. And then also price shopping within booksellers across like Amazon, or we have a couple buyback book systems that are in Nashville as well. So don't try and buy all your books brand new. There are some classes where you'll use the book every day, and there's some classes where you will use the book the first week for syllabus week and you'll never see it again. And then we also do remind you what our Late fees are if you do decide to attend with us before the semester starts, the same month we have classes starting. There is a fee that goes with that, just because we're having to jumpstart our staff who's already kind of in the weeds and making sure everybody else is successful. And then this shows our out-of-state fee. So it is a lot more. And I will say we do have our 250-mile radius scholarship. For students that are eligible for that, it does depend on the county where your high school is, that they do that evaluation from. But we also have a program called Work Rule where you can go part-time with us, but you get the in-state rate for part-time. So do keep that in mind. That is an option for students. But yeah, so if you can, the great thing is if we can get you in-state or get you under that Work Rule grant or the 250-mile radius. If not, we have a lot of scholarships that we do distribute to our out-of-state students to bring down the cost. And then, let me go back. So in addition to that, what we always recommend for our freshmen is they use 15 credit hours a semester, just because it helps you be on track to graduate more effectively. The average bachelor's degree is 120 hours. 15 credits a semester will actually put you in the 4-year bracket. If you're not taking 15 credit hours, it does cause you to have an extra semester if you're going 12 credit hours. There's nothing wrong with taking 12 hours. It's just you have an additional semester you need to make up. If you need to probably take summer semester classes to ensure that you graduate on time. And this kind of gives you a breakdown what our admission status would be. So this shows you what qualifies you for an out-of-state rate. This shows you the scholar rate that what I was previously talking about. So with scholar rate, it is dependent on your GPA. So scholar rate is a 21 on your ACT, a 3.0 unweighted GPA. And then that means you'll get the first tier of discounted tuition. And we also have our Scholar Rate Plus, which is a larger discount on tuition, which we need a 25 in the ACT, a 3.3. So right now, if you're coming in spring 2022, we're only looking at those unweighted GPAs. But if you're coming in fall 2022, we are considering requiring the ACT. So just make sure you have those in place. And then we do a refund system, like if you do drop a class, but we always recommend talk with somebody in your department before you consider dropping a class if you're overwhelmed, just because there might be more resources than you realize on campus to help you. And then this kind of gives you a little bit more clear of a scholar rate. So from having to do $10,000 in tuition, we drop it down to $7,000 just with a standard scholar rate of a 3.0 GPA. And then if you do Scholar Rate Plus, it drops it all the way down to $6,000 for you to attend with us. So do keep that in mind. There are some opportunities on campus for you to actually have a lower tuition cost if you are considered out of state. And then this kind of shows you our 250-mile radius of who qualifies for it. So it shows you the states that are eligible. And then if you go onto our website, it'll show you what high schools are eligible. 9 times out of 10, high schools that are in these states are going to be eligible for that scholarship. If not, you'll need to contact one of our team members. You can email recruiting@tnstate.edu and we'll get you in touch with Kyla, who will get you kind of the right information on how to do the 250-mile radius scholarship. But it is a really great scholarship opportunity for a lot of our students that do stay and are a little sticker shock. And then this shows you what the 250-mile radius scholarship will break it down to. Instead of doing $10,000, it'll be $7,000 you're breaking it down to. A lot of the fees are broken down. And then again, do keep in mind that 15 credits or more will allow you to qualify for these discounts. And this kind of gives you a breakdown of what our student population truly looks like. Is we do have a larger population of in-state students just because we are a lot in the high schools in Memphis and in the high schools in the West, like Kingston Springs, and then also in Kingsport. We try and make sure we are very active and lively in those alumni groups. So we do have a lot more in-state students, But we do have over 25% of our students are out of state. And they are probably some of the most engaged students on our campus are out of state recipients. Not only because they may be doing work rule, but because they actually feel like TSU is home, especially most of those students also live on campus. And then we do have a small international student population. That's just because more of like them adapting to our new deadlines and standards that we hold as an institution, but we do have a large Kurdish population that attend TSU. And then this kind of gives you an overview of scholarship. So what kind of GPA will get you a scholarship? So we do an average of a 2.9 GPA or scholarship eligible students. And the reason it says 2.9 instead of a 3.0 is our transfer GPA is a 2.0. So that's what that average will typically look like. What an academic scholarship recipient will look like is a 2.9 GPA, 19 on the ACT or 900 on the SAT. And again, those ACT scores are super scored. So if you need to take the ACT multiple times to elevate your GPA, more than happy to do that. But just keep in mind that those are the students that are eligible for scholarships if you fit that demographic. And then if it's higher than that, awesome. That actually seems like we can open a lot more windows for you. And then outside scholarships our students are actually using too is Scholarship for America. During my undergraduate experience, that's where I got my whole degree paid for from a scholarship, an SA scholarship from Scholarship America. And then probably the most popular within Tennessee students is FastWeb. FastWeb is a profile group where you narrow it down, like you do it by your identity, like I'm an African-American woman who who is studying in biology, who comes from this socioeconomic background, who has these kind of other identity accolades. And they scan through their whole database and figure out what will fit you the most. And then you can kind of phase it down to, do I want to write an essay? Do I just want to do an interview? Or do I just want to put my name in the hat and just fortunately be drawn? And then Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund is also a really great space for our students. It is essay based, so do keep that in mind, that there might be an essay opportunity if you're really good, if you're a great writer, or if you have somebody in your family that can assist you with editing. And then we also do a lot of fundraising within our alumni association. We also talked about the foundation. So the foundation is one of like our community partners that works hard in the community about getting side funds for students. So that could be getting student bus passes so they can commute into campus. That could be contacting somebody who's in childcare in our community who can assist with helping you take care of your family, or somebody who is maybe having a hard time with their car, either helping you find a car or helping you find a mechanic to help you repair your car, because cars are expensive right now. So like we do have a lot of funding options for our students that's available. We do open the scholarship for spring 22 and fall 22 in October of this year. And we also require you to do your FAFSA. So FAFSA opens October 1st. So just make sure we get those worked on. And then this kind of showed you a little bit more of our scholarships. Again, like brief overview of what qualifies as an academic achieving student. And then we also have a bridge program. So a bridge program is somebody who's been at a high school that doesn't have the best academic background, but we want to recognize those students. So we do have scholarships where if you apply with us and you can be eligible for our bridge program, it does have an essay, but it does have the opportunity to cover tuition and residence hall spaces and dining. And then also I think it does have there is a place where if you want to pay for parking, it also cover that too. And then 90% of our student body is receiving financial aid. So I actually think that number is a little bit bigger than that, to be honest, just because we have handed out so many scholarships this year. We handed out over $4.7 million in scholarships just for transfer students. But we also have handed out a lot of full tuition scholarships for our in-state first-time freshmen. So really great opportunities for our students to get involved. And then this also shows you a couple of our scholarship programs that we have. Most common scholarship a student's going to get at TSU if they file for FAFSA will be Hope Scholarship. And then we also do honor doing Pell Scholarship as well, but we also do Tennessee Promise and Tennessee Reconnect. So if you're doing an associate degree program, those two scholarships can be in place. So the Reconnect goes for the adult learners who are 21 or older, and the Tennessee Promise for people that are fresh out of high school. And then we also do the foster child grant. We just need that documentation since the financial aid team for them to do that distribution. And then we also do loan forgiveness programs as well for you to enroll in. Probably one of the most popular is the Math and Science Initiative. If you have a 3.5 GPA, you're studying either in math and science and you commit to teaching math and science, your loans are either minimized by the time you sign that contract, or with working in the community for 5 years, those loans are forgiven as well. And then this kind of gives you proof that our students are hardworking, that almost all of our students at some point in their college career will have an internship, whether it be academically required or they just feel like they need that just to get into the industry. Our career service office will help you with your resume, help you with interview skills, then also help you when you get the job of how to have the conversation about negotiating salary and how to maintain what that budget will look like. I think that's something that is not talked about a lot for a lot of the four-year institutions, but we like to make sure that our students know what their worth is, so we help them negotiate salary. And we also work with them one-on-one to actually navigate what that budget will look like after they graduate. So, because sometimes students think, oh, I'm going to get like $80,000. They're not realizing what city they're in, like what the cost of living is, what housing or what food will cost or taxing will cost. And our financial aid team, Ms. Antoinette Duke, will actually help you break that down. And then this also shows you what our general admission requirements are. If you want to create the application now, you can just scan your computer with that QR code and it'll bring you to our application. And again, for first-time students, it's a 2.5 GPA. If you're coming in spring 2022, you will need to disregard the ACT scores. It's not required. But if you're coming for fall 2022, make sure you check out that 19 ACT. And then for international students, we have to have you take the Michigan or the TOEFL test. And that is just to ensure your college readiness. We need it to be in a grade 2 it's a grade 4 or higher for you to be eligible for admission. And then they'll need financial statements. For all students, we will need transcripts. So we will need your high school transcript. And it has to list your graduation date and have a signature on the bottom from somebody at your institution, or we can't accept it as official. So the school can send it to us, email it to us directly, but they just have to have your graduation date listed for us to count it as an official final transcript. And then for transfer students, if there's any out there, we just got to make sure that you give us all your transcripts of the previous colleges you've attended. First-time students will also request, if you are doing dual enrollment credit and wanting those counted, we get that college transcript as well. And then this also gives you spotlight for our virtual tour. Virtual tour, we also do have an in-person tour we have. It's called Visit Days, where you're more than happy to come to set up a tour for you to come to campus and walk around. And then we also, what I would say for virtual tours, they're great and wonderful. They just don't show you the depth of how far away things are. So if you're going to come to campus, make sure you're wearing walking shoes, and then also check the weather the day before, because I know some of our students got a little rained on today. But like the virtual tour, if you can't come down to Tennessee, totally fine, really great experience. But I always recommend students to physically come to campus before they start classes with us, just so they can get the vibe and they can kind of place themselves in that experience and then get all the fun pictures. Like we have so many tigers on campus where students can take photos in front of, or you can actually help kind of scan what part of campus you want your residence hall at too. And then I know Chris has been working real hard in the chat. So if you guys have any other questions, more than happy to continue talking in the chat with him. And I know he's going to be happy answering all your questions. And If you have any questions after the session, or you want to follow up on something I talked about, maybe I said something a little crazy, email recruiting@tnstate.edu, and we'll have one of our team members reply back and kind of give you the information, the follow-up information, or help you check your status of your admission. Oh, and then in addition with transcripts, if you are sending us college transcripts, best way we'll take them is electronically, and then you can email those directly to TSU. That way we don't have to wait on the mail. The mail has been really slow in Tennessee. I will let you know that. So just do keep that in mind. I'm just giving Chris time to answer, and then I'm about to restart the whole presentation again, guys. So if you do have any questions, you didn't get them answered the first time, you want to watch the video because I was going a little too fast, feel free to stick around. If not, we are good to go. If you would just want to close out and jump to one of our other Zoom sessions, I know that they've worked really hard on tonight. So if you want to go take a peek at someone else, go for it. But in a few minutes, we're going to jump over to start the presentation again. But if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat for Chris to answer. And I'm so sorry for the people that were on here earlier. You probably heard my two wackadoodle dogs running through here. Decided they wanted to have a little bit of a battle while I was talking. So hopefully you don't hear them outside rustling and rooting around now too. But y'all have been so patient and so lovely. Thank you. And then I know Chris has a lot of questions he's working on answering. Speaking of my wild dog. Sorry about that. He likes to be like summoned. Okay, so there's 30 seconds left, so I'm just going to restart the presentation. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and check on my audio first. So bear with me. You're going to see a bunch of different screens. It's not because I'm crazy. It's just because I'm trying to check and make sure that everyone can hear the audio. Okay. Go again. I'm going to play this little video. It's going to have some audio. So if Chris has anybody who's in the chat that's talking, I'm just going to play this audio a little bit so we can kind of get started. So if we have any wave of students, they can kind of roll on in. And it's going to be 2 minutes. That kind of gives you a little bit time to have questions asked in the chat box. Feel free. Chris is down in the chat, so feel free to ask any questions. I'm just here. So if you didn't know, I'm Chelsea Morgan. So if there's anything that you need, I work with transfer students. I'm happy to answer anything. If you email recruiting@tnstate.edu, I know that their team with first-time freshmen will send me all the information. But Chris is the expert with our first-time freshmen. He's in the chat box today. So if you have any questions, feel free to send them in the chat while I'm talking about anything. If there's anything that you're not getting based on the presentation, you can also set up a tour with us. We do virtual and in-person tours. And then we can also just set up a phone appointment with you too if we want to chat with a family. Okay, so in this presentation, we're going to have a little bit of an overview. So we're going to talk about the history of TSU. We're going to talk about some notable alumni that you probably know. And then we're also going to talk about the location of Nashville. I think with a lot of people, when they hear TSU's in Nashville, they just think country music and cowboy boots. But there is such a great, I would say, like, men of color have so many great restaurants in Nashville. Like, probably my favorite. So, like, if you do come do campus tours in Nashville, I'm just going to go on a little tangent right now. You need to go to Coneheads or Google it right now. Food is divine. They're all in cones, but their chicken and waffles and their mac and cheese cone with slaw and barbecue. Probably some of my favorite things to eat during the weekend. Not supposed to eat them, but like they're probably the best things to eat in Nashville besides hot chicken. And then also another place to go is 8th and Broad. If you want to have a bunch of different restaurants you can taste from, because there's Prince's in there. In the Assembly Hall, there's also a poke bowl place. There's also really good barbecue, and there's a place called Coco's. Like if you love Italian food, like Coco's is also in there. So good. And then there's also like a wood stove pizza place too. That like if you want to go like on Broadway, those are probably the best places to eat. But there's so much food in Nashville. I think probably like most people think country music, but when I think about it, I think of my waistband because like I'm gonna get stuffed full of food. And then here is Dr. Glenda Glover. So she is our 8th president and our first woman president, first African-American woman who has been our president at TSU. And probably not only are your recruiters very dedicated, but that message of students first goes all the way to the top. When our tagline is think, work, serve internally. This woman thinks about students first, works every day to make sure that the student experience is the best, and that she picks the right people to put in the right seats to serve you. I've never been a part of an organization that lives by those words every day, but it's probably the best experience I've had because these students and the staff believe in the message of making sure our students make excellence a habit. Like the taglines that we have at TSU, like everybody walks the walk and like actively participates in it, whether it be somebody who's just answering phones, like our guy JD who does it in the admissions office. He's a rock star, but like anytime he gets off the phone, it's a smile on his face. So even if it might be like a short interaction for you, that's meaningful for us on staff because we want to make sure our student experience is as great as possible because we want to make sure you're elevated by the time you graduate with us. So like at TSU, I would say like our 3 goals by the time you graduate is that you are comfortable in your identity, in your skin, and you know how to stand up for yourself. Second of all would be that by the time you walk across the graduation stage, you have a job offer or you are working towards that offer, whether it be like you have gotten a job offer, you're working to travel to a new destination, you kind of know where your footing is, or you're continuing an internship experience and they're going to help you pay for your master's program. Or option 3 would be you found the love of your life, you found like your friends, like your best, dearest friends, like you're going to feel loved and invested in TSU. Anytime I drive around TSU or within the community and they see my little tiger logo, like that is such a great conversation starter because everybody just believes in the message at TSU that we are trying to make like the best, most responsible, most engaged student possible by the time they graduate. And then this kind of gives you a brief overview of the history at TSU. So we were founded in 1912. We were a merger institution. So I do like to preface that. So during the video or during this presentation, you're going to hear actually the true history of TSU in a spoken word message. It's a really great, kind story of like how our institution has always worked towards making our student experiences greater. We are a 500-acre campus. Sometimes it doesn't feel like that because sometimes you're only hanging out on one side of campus. But when you're walking for a campus tour, you will feel all 500 acres. And we also have 8 residence halls on campus for our students to be a part of. And we also are opening up 2 new residence halls this fall. And there's going to be 700 beds. They're going to be brand spanking new, so you'll be the first ones in those beds. So that's a really great opportunity for our students. And then we're always improving and doing renovations. Not only are we have those 2 new residence halls, we're also improving the admissions office right now. They're going over a huge overhaul. So when you come see us, it's going to be beautiful and you're going to be excited to come to campus with us because we're going to have more space to welcome you. And then it also kind of brags about how many degrees we have. So 1970, our foundation was introduced. So that is like our community partner. somebody who works hard at making sure like scholarships, service for students, whether it be with banking, whether it be with auto, whether it be childcare. Foundation is responsible for making sure we have all those connections. So if a student has those needs, we already have a guy who's going to help and fix it and set a student up for success. And with that, we've had a lot of community partnerships with employers who've kind of helped us mold our degree paths. So not only do we have 45 baccalaureate degrees at TSU, we have about 15 associate degrees where students can use Pell or not use Tennessee Promise and Tennessee Reconnect. Most popular associate degree with us is the dental hygiene program with us. And then we have 24 master's and doctorate degrees within our wheelhouse. One of the things that we're focusing on right now is higher education and making sure our students, by the time they graduate with us, they not only have their bachelor's degree, but they also have a concentration along with that. So it might be a minor or a focus within their degree. So they have a specialized experience, just so it makes sure that their resume is diverse. And then also when it comes to interviews, they do have a step above the rest. And then this kind of gives you an overview of a couple of our notable alumni. Probably the first thing you think of when you come to TSU is going to be Oprah. Our communication space is pretty much a mosaic of her. It's a really great space if you need some quiet time. It's a beautifully built building. And that's kind of where she worked and thrived. The building that I'm talking about is actually the new updated version of the building that she attended on. So if you have any Winfrey fanatics, like just keep that in mind. But we also do have some really great alumni partners. So Dr. Deborah Cole, who is the CEO of Citizen Bank, she is the longest serving bank president. And she is such a great giver to TSU. She has so many scholarships available to our students through the foundation and then through partnerships within the programs that she attended in, her business program and her MBA. She does have scholarships in both spaces. And then we also do have a really great electrical engineering program. And one of our great alumni is the person who invented the cell phone chip. And you can thank him every day you pick up your cell phone. Like TSU is the reason for it. And then we also do have Miss William Rudolph, who is probably our star achiever. We have trophies of her everywhere on campus. We have a really great statue for a photo op, like by the athletic building. If you ever want to come to campus and really a really great picture, great sunshiny day, her holding the torch is beautiful. Like I always highly recommend if somebody wants a picture, that's where you need to be. And then in addition, we do have the Dr. Levi Walken Scholarship. He is such an impressive person. Like being at TSU, I have learned so much about like the medical field of like what impact this man has on medical. Like not only did he create the defibrillator that you see probably really prominent now, but also like he was a really great activist for medical rights for people of color. Like he made sure that like the African American population was educated and knew what the expectations were of the cost of medicine, and then also like what treatments and care should be the expectation, not just assumed, but the expectation of what we need to uphold and honor. And then he also has a scholarship with us, and it's called an accelerated program. So if you want to do anything in biology or medical and you want to go and be a doctor, this program is for you. So it's between TSU and Meharry. So you will be in a cohort model with other first-time freshmen. It is specifically catered towards first-time freshmen. You will be in a cohort model. You'll all will live on campus together. You'll have study hours set together, and you will get a scholarship, and your class environment will be built around this accelerated program. So not only for your GPA to be eligible, you need a 3.5 GPA, 28 on the SAT or on the ACT. I will say most students, it's very rare that we get SAT scores. And it's not because like, oh, the SAT is hard. It's just like there's better access within like community, like within the community for students to take the SAT or the ACT. We do, a lot of schools in Tennessee will give the ACT for free. And then if they need to take it again because they want the super score, they will pay for it the second time, not the first time. So do keep that in mind, that if you are a Tennessee student, you might get the opportunity to get somebody else to pay for it the first time. But if you want a super score because you want to build up your score and retake it again, that second fee is going to be on you. Okay. And then this is kind of an overview of Nashville. So again, like I would say industry is pretty prominent here in Nashville. Not only do you have Nissan and Amazon in the area, but you also have like Kroger corporates here. We have Asurion, we have HEA Healthcare. So many different opportunities and places for students to be a part of. All these spaces host internships for our students. And a lot of the, in the future, you'll see in the slides, I'll probably take my own thunder, but we have 75% of students actually get hired by their internship their internship starter to be employed there. If not, you can use those as great references. In addition to TSU being an HBCU in the area, we do have a couple additional ones. Most students at TSU will connect with our Fisk College, which is like right down the street. Like you probably throw rocks at Fisk. And then also Meharry. Like those are probably the two big schools our students build the most relationship with overall compared to all the HBCUs in the area. American Bible College is also really great. They're always present for like community events. So you have a really great like network of friends that just aren't at your college. And then things to do in Nashville, there's so much that we build around Nashville. There's kayaking. You can kayak that little body of water that's down there, the Cumberland. There's so many hiking trails. Probably the most popular activity is students go and hang out on Broadway. There's a place called Skulls that has a really great jazz program that I always recommend students. And if you love just trying different samples of food, you can always go to 8th and Broad. Try a bunch of stuff out. There's a bunch of little boutiques in there too. But it's always a really great place where if you need to sit down and hang out with friends before you go and do something on downtown, it's really great. And you don't have to be over 21 to like enjoy the city. And that's one thing I like from the cities that I grew up in, like for you to actually be able to take a part of the experience, you have to be of age. But here, like you can go see concerts and performances in the area and not have to have your ID on you all the time. Like you don't have to spend all your time hanging out on Broadway. There's so many other different little niches, like East Nashville is a really great space for students to come up to and visit, or Donaldson for students to hang out in. Like you just don't always have to be on Broadway to have an experience. I feel like sometimes students just think you have to be in the city, but there's so many other different neighborhoods we have for students available. And then we also have the Preds. Preds are a really great sponsor of us. So we do have Pred scholarships. We also do get Pred tickets every once in a while for students to sign up for. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, I'm not going to say you're going to get like tournament tickets, but you're going to, or playoff tickets, you're going to get some like preseason tickets, but they're also really, really fun to be a part of. And then I would say we are based in like the North Nashville area. So you can go down to historic Jefferson Street. Really great experience because that's where Meharry is located, is on Jefferson, but also one of the African American jazz museums is also there. And then there's also an exhibit there's also a really great restaurant there. It's more of like a bread and breakfast kind of food vibe of like, if you like breakfast brunch food, like it's a really great place, but there's a lot of other spaces that are athletic focused, like for TSU. There's a couple restaurants that are dedicated to like, if you can't watch the game like out of state, you can watch it down on Jefferson Street. Or if you want to get like TSU memorabilia and the bookstore's closed, there's always a bunch of spaces to go and get involved in. And then this is kind of showing you our sophisticated ladies in the aristocratic bands. They're actually met Barack Obama. They actually performed for the White House. And what I love about TSU is that if you're doing anything within the student experience, where you're a part of an organization, you're part of a club, or you're part of an extracurricular like the band, you're going to go places. Like you're going to travel, you're going to get firsthand accounts, and you're going to get unimaginable experiences that like not everyone gets. Not only did they get to meet Barack Obama, like we've had students who performed for the Vatican. We've had students who've had to run their own conference. We've had students who actually got to meet one-on-one with Oprah. Like we have so many different chances for students to participate and get involved. Like I always say, like TSU is just the foundation, and you're going to be able to network and build relationships across the nation, because we do play sports with different historically Black colleges in the area. Like we played Jackson State. Like we're going to be playing, oh, there's so many, I can't even think right now, but there's so many opportunities for you to participate in athletics at TSU. You just got to try. Not even if you're on the field, just being in the stands is always a little fun experience. And this kind of gives you an overview of our band. See if it goes. And this is them at the White House.
1, 2, 3, 8.
Let me jump back in here. Okay, so just take a peek at this. This is our 8 residence halls. It shows how many student organizations we have, over 100 organizations, and you can always create your own. Class size is 16 students per 1 professor. Over 98% of our students actually do get financial aid, and that could be Pell, Hope, or scholarship distributed by the institution. And again, that 75% of students get hired after their internship. And then this kind of gives you a brief overlook of what our degree paths look like. This shows you a lot of our accolades that we get. We are a Research 2 institution. So what that means is that we have 5 high research facilities at TSU. And in those facilities, we do contribute to like the national conversation about data. And this also gives you another peek about some of our great accolades. Probably our second most popular program at TSU is psychology. And then also probably our most popular associate degree is the dental hygiene program. Gives you another little snapshot of what our degree paths look like. So I always like to tell students that human performance and sports science is probably one of our second most popular, just because of our athletic program. And again, this kind of gives you an overview of some of our other scholarships and licensings. And then this kind of gives you another overview. If you are wanting to do an organization, ROTC, if you do it in high school, we do offer it in college as well. And then we also do have a really great coding program at TSU that not only helps students get coding for their specific industry if they're doing computers, but it also helps them kind of get their eligibility to elevate their degrees too. We do have Greek life at TSU. It is the Divine Nine organization, like through social organizations, but we also do have some service organizations and academic honored organizations too. This kind of gives you a snapshot of who loves TSU. Probably the most popular one that we have right now is Master P and his son. His son's actually going to be playing basketball for us this year. And then this kind of gives you a snapshot of what our residence halls look like. So we do have traditional style with the community style housing. But we also do have some halls that do have suite style, where it's you and a roommate and you're sharing a bathroom. Community style means that you're sharing a bathroom the whole hallway. So you got to learn to it builds character. I will always say, like, sharing a bathroom with a whole hall of people builds character, and it not only helps you like strengthen your relationships. My college roommate, when we were in traditional styles, was my maid of honor at my wedding. And in addition to that, my husband, all 10 of his best friends were also in our wedding, and they come to my house all the time. And this kind of shows you what sports we actually do have on campus. In addition to these men's sports, we also are considering adding hockey to our repertoire. So be excited for that. And then this shows you how many athletes we've had within the NFL who are TSU Tigers. So we've actually had 121 athletes come from TSU that play in the NFL. And this shows you our basketball experience. There's not just him, there are a couple more. So just do keep that in mind. And then this shows you kind of our affordable college experience. Compared to the other schools in Tennessee, we have a really great price tag, I will say. Not only are you getting a really great degree for a great rate, you're getting a great experience with the faculty, staff, and the colleagues that you meet along the way. And then in-state students, this is just for tuition, so do keep that in mind, but it is $4,000 a semester. And then on the left side of the screen, it does show you a little bit of our fee expectations. So make sure you register early so you don't have to pay all these additional fees. I will say books, if you are doing anything in medical field, you are going to be on the higher side of that estimated range. But if you're going to be doing anything like liberal arts, business, it will be on the lower side of 300. Most of the time, freshmen, sophomores are going to be on the lower price tag of that estimated cost. And if you're as you go through your degree, you'll get higher. But we also do use rentals, used books, rentals, and you can purchase used as well. There are a lot of used book vendors in the area if you don't want to go through our bookstore, or you can always check Amazon. Probably one of my favorite places to find a textbook is McKay's. It is in Nashville. If you love books, check it out. It's a really great place to be. And then this is our out-of-state rate. So we do have a program called Work Rule where you can get in-state costs, and we also have scholar rates that you can participate in too. So do keep in mind that there are options to getting a lower cost of out-of-state rate. So just don't apply with us and just and not think you're going to get any scholarships. If it is a higher GPA, you will be. So to get classified for those scholar rates, typically we need students to have 15 credit hours a semester. And in those 15 credit hours, we need them at least to maintain a 3.0 GPA. To apply, you need to have a 3.0 unweighted GPA from high school, and then 21 on your ACT. And again, if you did take the SAT, we do the calculation internally. So if it's not accurate to this information, because they rescaled it again, we will do the rescaling in our office. And then we do have our Scholar Rate Plus, and the Scholar Rate Plus is a 3.3 GPA with a 25 ACT. So even if you get one or the other, you are going to have some cost discount. And then this kind of shows you what the actual scholar rate will look like. So if you do get just a 3.0 GPA, it will be $7,000 of your tuition cost. And then if you are going to have a higher GPA, it will be this lower rate of basically cutting off $1,000. So do keep that in mind, that even if you're you see the price tag of an out-of-state student, just make sure you work hard in school, just to hope you have a 3.0 GPA requirement, and then also those ACT scores. And then we also have a program called 250-mile radius where we do give in-state discount costs for some of these high schools that are eligible. So if you are in one of these eligible states, do contact us so we can tell you if your school qualifies. And then with the 250-mile radius, that is the cost. It does go down to $7,000 instead of that $10,000 price tag. So do keep that in mind. And then we do have a larger population of in-state students. And the reason for that is we have 55 high schools just in Nashville. So even if you are out of state, don't feel like there's no one who's going to be from your state. There is most likely going to be somebody from from like your area, from your state that you can connect with and build a friendship with. And then we do have a large international population. It's not reflected necessarily in this because this is 2017, 2018, but we do have a large Kurdish population at TSU for students to build relationships and make connections with as well. And then this kind of gives you an overview of what our scholarship looks like. So this shows you the different types of scholarships available to students. So the most students that can qualify for a scholarship is a 2.9 GPA. And why the 2.9 and not the 3.0s is because we're also doing in consideration for our transfer students. Transfer students only need a 2.0 GPA. But if you're coming as a freshman, we do need it to be a 3.0 or higher. And then we always ask for a 19 on the ACT. And in your own time, like I would recommend going to these outside sources and seeing if they qualify for any scholarships. And then again, like we have TSU funding through our foundation that will award you funds, but it is scholarship, like first come, first serve, and those open in October. And then this kind of shows you some of our additional scholarship options. Popular programs that students are involved in is the Building Bridges Initiative. And that is a 2.5 GPA that's on a sliding scale from a high school in Tennessee and a 19 on your ACT. And it's eligible to cover your tuition, fees that go along with being a student, and then also your residence hall and so like your housing and then also your dining experience. And then this does show you how many students are on financial aid. I will always say that I would always recommend you do your financial aid in October. As soon as you see pumpkin spice lattes coming out in full force and UGG boots, just make sure you contact your FAFSA just to double check and make sure all your stuff's in place. And then this kind of shows you different spaces where money from Tennessee and state students comes from. So again, we talked about Tennessee Promise and Tennessee Reconnect. If you do have any identifying like socioeconomic factors like foster care, military service, any of those things, please contact us in advance just so we can process those more effective, like on time for you instead of you having to do it on the back end. And then we also do loan forgiveness programs. Probably the most popular is the Math and Sciences program. If you get a degree in math and science and you commit to teaching in the state of Tennessee for 5 years, they'll forgive your loans. And then really great thing is 75% of our students get hired after their internship. And that solely is because our career service office is wonderful. Not only will they give you professional headshots, they'll help cater your resume, help you interview, and then they'll also help you negotiate your salary. And then also how to budget like your salary that you get. So even if you're out of state, like some students will get jobs with TSU, they'll get their internship with like CMT. CMT is based in LA. So students will be like, oh, I have this really great salary, and they won't realize that there's a different cost of living in California. And Miss Duke and her team will actually help break it down so students actually know how much they can actually live off of. And then also like if they need to negotiate a salary, they can do that too. And then our admission requirements overall, all freshmen, 2.5 GPA is the standard. If you have higher GPAs, that will help us give you more scholarship opportunities. And then 19 on the ACT. So for spring 2022, we're not requiring the ACT, but in fall 2022, it looks like we're going to be requiring the SAT, or the ACT. So just keep that in mind, that if you're coming for fall, we will need you to take the ACT. And if we have anybody who has college credit from dual enrollment, we will need those transcripts to complete your admission, and then also to transfer those credits onto your record. And then this shows you our virtual tour link. So if you want to set up a virtual tour with us, more than happy to. We do have an in-person tour as well. At the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you an email address. Send an email to them if you want to visit on campus with us. And I believe Chris and Miss Portia will send you an email back that'll have our visit day event schedule. And then as you're going through, you feel free to keep asking Chris questions. I'll be here holding the face down. But we really are thankful for you guys coming to visit with us today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to always send us an email to the recruiting email. Or if you want to call us, you're more than happy to call us because we do have a really, really great team that's going to be answering phones. And we always are loving to see you on campus too. So if you want to set up a campus visit, feel free to do that as well. Okay. So that concludes hanging out with us. Please make sure you follow HBCU Unite on Instagram. Also follow TSU Instagram as well. We have a couple great features that we put on Instagram. We also do giveaways on there too. So just keep your eyes peeled. But again, make sure you follow HBCU Unite. If you want to tag TSU, feel free to do that as well. Thank you, Chris, so much for being my IT man and making sure that we get this together. Great thing to do is if you want to do, if you want to tag us, our usernames are on Twitter. So jump on, but have a great day.